So, Yogesh, I saw your presentation on Tuesday about alternative binders. It was really interesting. I think alternative binders is starting to gain traction in the U.S. for a lot of reasons. So, what are alternative binders, Yogesh, and why does it matter in 2025?
Yeah, great question. So alternative means what? It's something which is alternative from alternate sources. So typical binders, what we get is from, which is the asphalt that we know of is from oil. So alternative binders meaning anything but oil that we can get asphalt from. And in this case, you can have almost anything, but in general, when people talk about alternative, by and large, they know it's bio-based because that's more popular right now, at least in research. So that's what means alternative binders. And then going to the question of why are we even talking about this? So now there are multiple aspects to it. One is, well, as we know, the current, there's a push towards getting less and less oil from the ground, if you will, or not combusting oil, if you will. So if people start using, let's say, more and more electric vehicles, more and more, other products, but not oil, if oil consumption decreases, then how would you get asphalt from? So definitely there will be less in supply of the asphalt as well. So that's why there is a need to start looking at if asphalt, but typical petroleum asphalt is shortened, then what we do, we should find some alternate sources. And then there is a great report recently by Wood Mackenzie, and through the Asphalt Institute Foundation. So yeah, so they have mentioned about what can happen in 2050, 2040, and all that thing. So there is a need. So that's what we are looking for in terms of getting new kinds of asphalts from non-petroleum sources.
I see. And I remember during your presentation, you were talking a lot about, or I should say not talking a lot about, but you were focusing in on supplementing asphalt with these alternative sources.
Yes.
So in your research, so what were the general findings of this initial study?
So general findings of the initial study right now, what we're doing is we are not right away talking about replacing the whole asphalt, whole petroleum asphalt with bioproducts. That's not the thing. We are beginning to see if we can have a partial replacement, let's say at 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. At least if you're doing a partial replacement, then at least we can help the way industry is going. If there is the asphalt supply is less, then at least we can have a different source as well. So that's right now what we are doing. And what we have found is, it's like, although asphalt, even it comes from the different sources, it still looks black, it still looks the same. So thing that we have found is we cannot just apply whatever we have learned from the asphalt research in 90s, 80s, and so on, directly to the alternative, because it's a very different chemistry, different sources. It looks the same, but it's very different inside. So that's why we have to really go back to the drawing table and see how to really characterize these binders, and are the specifications, are the parameters what we know of, are they really are they working for it? In general, in many cases they don't. That's why we have to go beyond just the typical performance grading that we generally do for asphalt, because it's like a new rules, then we have to look at a new way of handling them as well. That's what we are, and that's what I presented as well on the chemistry-based parameters, on rheology-based parameters, on performance-based parameters, how they are different. And yeah, it's really interesting, and you always learn something new every day.
I totally get it. I was really impressed by the presentation. You sort of talked about this roadmap of initially using these bio-based products as a supplement as we move away from fossil fuels. When you did your research, is there anything that came out of the research that surprised you?
Yes, it did. So the weird thing is, not weird, but it's surprising, definitely, and interesting that your alternative materials, like when you touch it, when you feel it, like when you're working with it, heating and all that thing, they don't follow the typical rules in general about if it's soft, then how it will be if soft in normal temperature, then how it will be in the cold temperatures, on the cold climates. they have certain different way of their own behavior. So that's what I was like, hey, wow, I mean, we always hear a certain viscoelasticity and typical models that we look at, but maybe we have to calibrate and make new models in it, and that's what really surprises. And also one more thing is, some of them, if you don't do your product formulation very well, or maybe when you are working on it yet and you're trying to improve and optimize the process, then you see that they look good as is right now, but if you are aging them, if you are making them, let's say, simulating 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, then for that you need to have specific ingredients, formulations to make them last longer. So we have to always look for what happens in the extreme aging conditions and aging simulations and all that. So that's something which I found interesting. And and one more thing is, we have been used to a typical asphalt smell, the sulfur smell we have.
Yeah.
And when you look at these materials, in many cases they don't have any smell at all, or in some cases, based on what source chemistries they come from, they can have a different smell. So yeah, it's like, hey, is it asphalt? It looks like asphalt, but it smells like asphalt.
It's funny you should say that, right? It should make logical sense that, right?
Exactly.
That these are different materials.
Exactly.
Even though it looks black, like you said, it looked like asphalt.
Yes.
But you're saying it doesn't smell like asphalt.
Right.
I would imagine it probably doesn't taste like asphalt, but you didn't test that, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I don't hope to taste ever.
But it would make sense that that they need to be thought about differently, right? That
Yes.
they behave differently. And I think what you just said to me was that it did behave differently.
Yes.
You kind of knew it in the back of your mind, but then you saw it firsthand in your research.
Exactly, and that's what even in my presentation, I urged people as well, like, let's not come to conclusions right away. Let's study all these materials from different sources and all that, and then let's form the specifications and rules, and let's not just rush into it. If not, we'll end up making some mistakes, and then it will lead to a huge backlash later on when the whole industry says, hey, I mean, just get rid of it. But let's not do that. Let's go in a meticulous manner, and we can make these products great.
So based on your research, what's next for alternative binders in terms of research and usage?
What's next? Actually, frankly speaking, it's still in the nascency stages throughout the world, actually. I mean, people, when you read papers, when you even talk to the industry, people and all that, many of it it's still in the lab scale, there are a few things in Europe and, Australia, New Zealand areas, and there are a few ones, but by and large, it is still in its nascency, in its nascent stages. So what we need is formulate all these things, go from lab to the pilot scale, because there are existing plant operations and all that. So if you want to really make this happen, then you need to make sure that you can produce it at a larger scale, and not everything that works in the lab will work for the overall as the production plants and all that. So that's an optimization thing, and that's definitely number one. Number two is on the social side, or on the let's say the DOTs or county agencies and all that, we need to educate them and say that, hey, I mean, please be open to the new materials. It's not like we are trying to harm anybody. We are trying to generate the same performance with some new materials. Please be open. And that's what I guess we also need to parallelly, like talking at these conferences, going to the local asphalt pavement, user producer groups, or even making a tour of of different plants, because even people, when the workers in the plants, let's say the production plants and all that thing, so they would say, hey, this is the new material, smells differently and all that. So maybe they could be kind of fearful of it. So we have to also show them the results and all that, saying that it's a safe thing, don't worry about it, and make sure that they are able to welcome these new materials without skepticism. That's something which I feel.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, as we're trying to become, just in our general lives, and including in the asphalt industry, we're trying to be more sustainable, right?
Exactly.
And there's a whole supply chain around asphalt, and asphalt's related to energy production in the U.S. And if we're shifting energy production away from fossil fuels to other sources, that also means that asphalt, which is a part of that whole energy continuum, when that goes away, we need something else to supplement it.
Exactly, and that's why it needs to be taken as a solution for things that could happen, but not that we are, at least I'm not against the current asphalt. It's not like, that's not how, I know the people have stronger views on different topics, but I think that we are trying to solve a problem and make sure that as we transition into these new materials, the people who are already working in these, in these plants, in the industry, they should not feel like they are being threatened. They should feel like, yeah, I mean, it's the same job, but with a new material. So we are all moving towards it, and not just moving fast and breaking things kind of a thing, which is not sustainable. I mean, we talk about sustainability, but even the social sustainability also is important. We all need our jobs and change and transition into new jobs and new roles. So that's how at least I feel it on my personal end, and that's how I see it. And I think that also should be shown and should be communicated well with the contractor world, with the agency world, and all these people saying that, yeah, we're just trying to help the whole industry out. Yeah, because as you know, there are a lot of the refineries who have been closing. The ones who were doing asphalt, they were doing something new now. So and we can talk to many of these like refining people, especially the ones who are into asphalt suppliers. They know how difficult it is, and it's very difficult to start a new refinery and to change the existing process. So we need to be, this is the real thing coming, so we just need to be ready and do the best we can.
I think you said it best. You said it's about transitioning, right?
Exactly.
So let's transition in this podcast a little bit.
Yes,
let's talk a little bit about Yogesh Kumbargeri.
Yes, yes.
So, and I looked at your research paper a little bit. I saw your presentation. So tell me, if your research work had a theme song, what would it be?
Well, theme song, that's interesting. I never thought about that. How about I start with, I think a quote would be something which I can think of, which comes to my mind, is don't judge a book by its cover.
Okay.
So I think that's what I would like to, that's what comes to my mind, because it's like this, we're talking all about this black stuff, which is the asphalt, but when you're looking at alternative materials and all that thing, it's looks the same, but we cannot judge the thing by its cover, right?